The Ontario government released its renewed vision for education, achieving excellence in April 2014. This vision recognizes the province's commitment to the success and well-being of every student. The realization of this vision is tied to 4 key goals: achieving excellence, ensuring equity, enhancing public confidence, and promoting well-being. As research has shown, a safe, inclusive, and accepting learning environment is essential for student achievement and well-being. It is necessary for schools and school boards to regularly collect information related to achievement and well-being and decide how to respond in order to effectively support students and address their needs in these important areas. Education leaders across the province of Ontario have emphasized the importance of 4 key elements related to the evaluation of a school's climate. These elements are collection of school climate information from a diverse range of data sources, response to the collected and analyzed data in an effective manner, reflection on progress along with revision to school and board plans as required, and effective tools to be used in the assessment process. In this video, we will hear from some of Ontario's education leaders as they discuss how attention to these elements results in the creation and sustaining of a positive school climate. In order to gain a complete and accurate understanding of the climate that exists within a school community, information must be collected from a wide variety of sources on an ongoing basis.
One of the easiest ways that we did it early on in the early days was just checking on office referrals, classroom referrals, the number of kids that were sent to the office or sent in off the yard. Those are simple statistics you can collect. We got a little deeper with that is what are the reasons they're being sent in. And so it's not the numbers so much as what are the specific problems they're having and how do we deal with those problems. What we found over time by collecting that is that not only did the numbers drop in terms of kids being referred once we implemented different practices, but the issues were sort of less severe.
Utilizing our safe school audits, utilizing our school climate surveys, going back and looking at that data and holding all members of the school community accountable for their school improvement plan based on well-being, and going back and utilizing that data to either celebrate your successes, but more importantly to look forward to planning and closing any gaps if necessary.
On utilise différents outils dépendant des données qu'on veut recueillir. Donc au niveau des écoles, les écoles qui utilisent l'approche SCP et même toutes les écoles, en fait, des conseils scolaires, chaque conseil a son outil de cueillette de données. Donc, les membres du personnel vont compléter des rapports d'incidents pour rapporter des comportements problématiques dans l'école. Ils vont être entrés dans cet outil informatisé-là qui va nous permettre de sortir ensuite des données au niveau de l'école pour voir vraiment ce qui se passe dans l'école, quels sont les comportements les plus problématiques, où est-ce qu'ils se passent, à quel moment de la journée, quelle journée de la semaine, quel mois de l'année est plus problématique. Donc, ce sont toutes des données qu'on peut aller chercher pour voir vraiment ce qui se passe dans l'école et mettre des stratégies en place. Puis, au niveau de l'évaluation vraiment de l'approche SCP ou le soutien au comportement positif, on utilise différents outils également, des questionnaires, sondages, auto-évaluation et tout ça pour évaluer la mise en œuvre du système.
When we're collecting that information, are we having conversations with students who can specifically inform us about gender, about orientation, about race? So part of assessing the data and collecting the data is having those conversations with the students who do feel left out and digging deeper as to why they feel left out. And if it's related to race, let's have a conversation about that. What can we do? How can we support you? What have you seen that maybe we're missing? So having those deep conversations and personalizing what sometimes can be impersonal data, I think is really foundational for when you do equity work as it relates to safe schools.
So really to get a shared vision, we listen to all the stakeholders, we reach out to the parent community and to the staff and students, and hopefully get an authentic goal, which is one that we really need to work on at the school.
One area we've really focused on this year is the use of technology with both our students and our parents. Through the use of Google surveys this year, we found that our parents prefer to keep in contact with the school through email or social media. That being said, our students come from rural areas and technology and internet is not always accessible. Our school provides alternate forms of communication through the use of agendas and paper copies of any school communication. But our parents really would rather communicate with us through email. So we respect that and we strive to promote that. Our school pays close attention to attendance, of course. If students are not coming to school, we want to know why. This year we've noticed very regular attendance rates, which are a good sign, a good thing.
Our data collection sources typically are the young people, their families, and obviously the schools that we collaborate and partner with. They're all key elements in how to present the data that indicates the success that we've experienced in the program or service that we've provided to the school.
So we have a variety of data points. We have our Safe School Survey, we have our achievement data, we have our Ontario Catholic Graduate Expectations. We also have a graduate exit survey. So all of our graduates, when they leave, are asked questions about their experience within our Catholic school, and they're asked to reflect on it.
As information is collected, it must be analyzed so that school and board leaders can more fully determine its meaning and relevance to their work around school climate. The analysis should point them to the action that is needed in order to create or sustain the desired positive school climate.
On veut que les élèves réalisent, c'est qu'on va l'affronter ensemble. Les élèves veulent faire partie de la solution, qui est la différence. Ce n'est pas l'administration qui va nécessairement dire ou l'enseignant qui va régler une situation. On veut donner les stratégies à nos jeunes pour surmonter leurs défis. Puis avec YAC aussi, puis avec d'autres partenaires, on a la chance de leur donner ces stratégies-là. Alors je pense que les défis, il y en a très peu, puis il y en a de moins en moins.
So a recent example in our board about the importance of student voice was we have an annual Black History Conference, and we had a panel of prominent people in the Black community, and they were sharing some of their ideas and their thoughts. And the students came up to us afterwards and said, you know what, Miss, it's so great to be able to talk about this. It's so great to be able to discuss shadeism and racism so openly and in a safe space. So we will take that information, and moving forward, we're going to really concentrate on where do we have spaces for students within our schools to talk about topics that relate to their identity and their inclusion.
Keeping the strategy going is sometimes difficult because the staff will get a little tired of constantly collecting data. They just want to implement. They said, tell me what works, I want to use it. Or we know this works, we'll just keep using it. We don't need to keep collecting data. Unfortunately, it's one of the necessary evils of our time is we have to have this data to prove that what we're doing is working so that we can keep on doing it or we can find something different.
The process of sustaining a positive school climate is ongoing. Information must be collected, analyzed, and acted upon on a regular basis if the gains that are desired are to be maintained. Reflection on collected data and revision to plans might be carried out on a monthly or yearly basis.
So the way we selected this current program for Safe and Accepting Schools is through a process called collaborative inquiries. So we were given an option as teachers to focus either on literacy or numeracy or safe schools. So we chose safe schools, and this is actually the second year that we've chosen to focus on safe schools. So last year in our collaborative inquiry, we took on the topic of inclusion because we knew from some of the surveys that we had done with students that approximately 20% of our students reported feeling excluded at some point and with their experience at school. So last year we did inclusion, the kids did videos. We thought it was successful, but when we reflected afterwards, we thought that we hadn't sort of dug deep enough into the reasons why students feel excluded. And so we figured we wanted to continue on, and at the same time we knew that there were comments and things that kids were saying to each other out of earshot of adults that were hurtful and hateful, and some of them were racist comments, some of them had to do with homophobia, things like "that's so gay," and even kind of worse things. And so we just started asking ourselves as teachers, do they understand, first of all, what they're saying? And secondly, do they understand the impact that it has on other kids in terms of them coming to school and not feeling like they belong or not feeling like they're accepted for who they are?
Classes that went to observe the performance on challenging stereotypes then are doing reflections and putting up posters about their learning. And then we'll continue to survey students. I know that the group of teachers that did the collaborative inquiry are planning on doing more surveys to see, okay, now what impact has it had on the whole school, and so we'll reflect on that. And then always we reflect as a staff when we meet monthly as a staff on how are things going, and just talk anecdotally about is this improving, are things getting better, what are some examples. And so we use those real life examples from classrooms and review that on a monthly basis so that we can sustain the positive school climate.
Donc, si on repart avec l'idée de comité, de partenariat entre les deux écoles, on va aller établir des belles relations entre les membres du personnel. Tout commence par l'équipe, tout commence par les éducateurs qui sont en place. Donc, si les gens partagent les mêmes idées, si les gens savent comment intervenir entre les deux écoles, lorsque l'élève va transférer vers le secondaire, ce ne sera pas quelque chose de nouveau. Il va savoir vers qui il peut se tourner, il va avoir confiance en lui-même, confiance dans les adultes autour de lui. Une fois que les élèves se sentent confortables, forts, fiers, en confiance, évidemment, on va pouvoir se concentrer vers l'amélioration du rendement des élèves. Encore là, au niveau du village du public, il y a une possibilité de faire suivre les approches pédagogiques utilisées à l'élémentaire, comme par exemple les 5 au quotidien qu'on peut utiliser en littératie, qu'on va pouvoir faire suivre aussi au niveau de l'intermédiaire. Alors, l'enfant se sent en sécurité et peut apprendre d'une façon positive dans son environnement.
We look at the student feedback to see what they think is important in the school, and then as a staff we brainstorm and decide on a goal, and then we take that to our school council, to our parent community, and the teachers take it back to the students. We check it to see whether we've got it right, and then the teachers and everybody helps roll that goal out.
And then we as a Safe Schools Action Team will then take that information, be able to analyze where we are in the implementation of restorative practice, and then decide what should be our next short-term goal.
When we have our information, we have our data, we have a system-level approach, but we also understand that schools will have their own identity and their own culture. And we've made a real concerted effort to work with one another, to talk. So we can share with the schools as a system, this is what we found out, this is what we know, we want to share this knowledge. And the schools will then inform us, well, this is what works at our school level, this is what we're suggesting. So it's a very reciprocal approach to coming up with solutions and to come up with plans to deal with equity and to deal with safe schools. So as a system, we're not going to say, you must do this, because we understand that every school has its own identity, just like every student has their own identity. One of the things that we've realized that we need to do is bring a critical friend in. So one example is I'm a school principal. I'm looking at my school data. I don't know what biases and assumptions I'm bringing into that data. So to have another principal from another school sit down and look at the data with me, it takes the personalization out of it. So I might have a group of grade 4s that are not feeling included. And I know those kids, so I might say, well, you know, that was a bad year for them, or so-and-so wasn't feeling, I know where this is coming from. But when you bring a critical friend into that process, you bring some fresh eyes, you take away some of the biases and some of the assumptions. And so that's really when we're looking at our data and we're looking at assessments, that's a key component to moving forward for us.